any username or password, right? And then the Jira is a software, is an application that's been developed by Atlassian. Atlassian is a Sydney-based company, and this Jira software is a application that is used widely across the globe for project management, and to track the task, and to do all kind of project management things. We use Jira extensively, and Jira is very famous for running the agile projects, like the Scrum projects and Kanban projects. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with these terminologies, like Kanban and Scrum. Are you familiar with that, or do you want me to give you a little bit of introduction
Not
about that, please?
familiar. I have heard the term Scrum, but I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah. So Scrum is a framework that we use, and in
Manager.
yeah, Scrum is a framework that we use in project management, where we run sprints of some certain duration, like an iteration of certain duration. At the start of the sprint, we say that, okay, we are going to take up this much work, and we are going to complete this much work by the end of this sprint, and we set some sprint goals. The team set some sprint goals, and they work towards achieving those goals. And it's going to be a fixed length of duration, like 2 weeks or 3 weeks. In TWG for ERPFI, we are following a 3 week sprint, where we take a lot of issues into the sprint, allocate to different team members, size that to tasks, and then we execute the sprints within Jira. And within Jira, there is the concept of so if you just see my screen, if I go to ERP5 project, and then I'm seeing the active sprints board here. So I can see the status of each task in this view. Like, there is a sales report integration solution design for storage and reporting is in progress. And that's been assigned to this guy. And what is the priority of that? And what's the due date set for that task? All these details I can find from here. And basically, I can anyone who is looking at this board can get to know where we are standing in terms of completing task and things we allocated to the sprint. So at the end of the sprint, in the Scrum framework, we go through this daily stand-ups every day. We open this board, and then we check with each team members what they are facing, and if they if they're finding any blockers or things, then uh, we call them out in the meeting, and then we try to resolve them in the meeting itself. Or if we need any external parties help, then we get to talk to those people to get those blockers removed. So it's kind of an interactive way of doing the or executing the project. In the Scrum world, um, daily stand-ups is a ceremony that the teams follows every day. And at the start of the sprint, there will be a sprint planning, where the product owners and the team involved in the development, or uh, the configuration, and all of those sides of things, they come into a meeting, and they plan the sprint, and they set the goals for the sprint. They take this task into the sprint. Then daily stand-ups happen, and then at the end of the sprint, we kind of assess whether we have completed the goals, all the tasks related to the goals or not. And there will be a sprint retrospective, where the team talks about uh, what went well in the sprint and what has not went well in the sprint. And then they take those feedbacks from the sprint retrospective meeting, and then they apply the same kind of setups in the next sprint. From the sprint retrospective and sprint review meetings, people can teams can really focus on what is not went well and what is went well, and they can take some points from that meeting and then apply that in the next sprints. That's the whole idea about running scrums and things uh, in the project management space. And the Kanban is another kind of methodology that we use to run the programs. And then in the Kanban, there is no concept of fixed weeks iterations. Like, sprint is of a fixed week, like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, where we set some timeline and say that, okay, we need to complete everything in this 3 weeks time. But Kanban is more like we the work comes in and we take the works based on the priority of the work and we deliver it on time. There is no concept of fixed weeks iteration. So it's more similar to Scrum. There is going to be daily stand-ups and things, but there isn't any sprint planning or kind of retrospective kind of things, because the work comes in, we take the work, we complete it, and we mark it as done. Does it make sense? Is that clear? Or do you have any questions?
Yes, absolutely.
Does this portal assess remains same whether the person is involved in functional or supply chain or into finance?
Can you come on that again? I couldn't hear you properly.
Since we are into Oracle and we have been designated different job roles, like one is in technical, one is in supply chain, and one is in finance.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
what kind of job duties do we need to assess over here in Jira and Confluence?
See, in Jira and Confluence, I'll say Jira is a project management tool that is used to track your tasks. Any kind of task. Even if you are a supply chain manager or a technical person or a finance person, you will have some kind of task that you need to track, right? So in Jira, you can track all of these things. So everybody who is part of the project will be using Jira, right? And
Oh,
Confluence is, yeah, please go ahead.
I was just confirming that I confirmed about Jira. Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, and
Like,
Confluence,
so,
yeah, please go ahead.
like how to integrate, if I have a project, so how to integrate my project into this Jira and Confluence.
What do you mean by how you have a project and you want to integrate? Can you
Like, I
elaborate
have
it
to
more?
track my progress. So how it will be, how I will do that, how it
Okay.
is going to mention there.
Yeah. So I'll give you that idea. Again, if you can see this page here, the backlog. So here you can see all the backlog items of ERPFI phase 2 project, right? So
Yes.
basically this means that when we enter the project, or when we are in the stage of project, if we have some task that needs to be completed, someone will be asking us to do that task, right? So I'm talking in a very simple terms. Someone like, say, for Mahesh is asking you to complete one task, and
Mhm.
either Mahesh will create that task within this project using this create button. you know they choose the project as ERPFI, issue
Okay.
type as task. They provide a summary like, okay, uh, complete the test testing of the integration, something. I'm just making up something.
Mhm.
And they choose the
Mhm.
relevant components. What is it related to? It's related to finance or integrations or inventory. I say finance, and then they provide a detailed description of the task. So this is more useful when we are working as a team, and we are team members sitting in different parts of the world. And if they the in the when we are creating the task, we should clearly mention the description of the task, to clearly mention a summary of the task. Then they will choose an assignee for the task. So in this case, if I choose you as the assignee, then you get an email notification saying, okay, you're Tarun Kanwal, right?
Yes.
You get an email notification saying, okay, this task is being created by this OGIS for you, and I can set the due date for the task. Due date is the date by which you have to complete this task, and then also I can set some acceptance criteria for the task. Like, okay, for you to complete this task, you have to exceed this criteria. You have to complete this criteria.
Okay.
Then there are labels that we use. So labels are nothing but to segregate issues into different buckets. We use labels. So if it's an integration issue, we say as integration label. And if it's a data migration issue, we say it's a data migration label. So these are different terminologies that we use within Jira. Label is a field. It's basically a field that is used to segregate issues, right? And if it's a QA issue, we use QA as the label. And you can provide the version, by in which release it is going to get delivered, this task or anything. If it's related to release 1 or release 2. And then also you can select the sprint. So if I am creating a task for you, and if I say, okay, this must be completed in sprint 7, I can choose.
17 means?
Okay, the sprints are, like I said,
No,
Jira
like,
is fixed week
I,
thing, right?
I know. Like
Yeah.
a sprint, it means like you have to complete it in a very quickly. So
Yeah, the sprint
so
17 means, in this sprint itself, you have to complete.
It's a
like
timeline,
17.
Tarun. Like the TWG project has been launched from September 2020. So
Yeah.
all the work has been assigned and all the weeks has been uh, allotted to what to do and who will be doing it. So 17 represents the week number over here
No, no,
that
no,
we are
it's
in
not.
this phase.
No, no, it's not representing the week. It's representing the sprint number. So when we started the sprint phase 2 implementation in June 2021, the first sprint we named it as ERPFI phase 2 sprint 1, which was for 3 weeks duration. So any task that was meant to be completed within that first 3 weeks was allocated to sprint 1. So like that, we have completed many sprints, and now we are in sprint 17. So sprint 17 has started this Monday, 9th of May, and it is going to end on 28th of May. This 3 weeks is sprint 17. So the next sprint will be sprint 18, which will be starting on May 30th, and which will continue until 11th of
20.
June. Clear?
Yeah. Okay.
What is phase 1 and phase 2?
Okay. So when we started the project in project ERPFI, I'm talking only talking about ERPFI now, just to clarify your doubts. So we did a proof of concepts stage where the client wanted to ensure that, okay, this is the system that we really wanted to work on. So just to do a kind of a trial thing, a proof of concept stage was there. So that was, we call it as a phase 1. The first initial 6 months was for us to do the proof of concept. So that was the phase 1. And then after the phase 1 proof of concept was finished, like, we have shown our work and our product to the TWG executive team, and they have impressed with the proof of concept, and they said, okay, now we are going ahead with phase 2, the real implementation of the product.
Okay.
Because the client is spending a lot of money on building this product, and if they have to wait for 2 years to see the end product, and at the end of the second year, at the end of the project, if they see that okay, this is not the product that we wanted, that's a lot of loss for them, right? So they always go with kind of proof of concept phases and learn from that whether that's a suitable product for them, or if the teams are capable to complete this, or building the solution for us. And from there they'll take a decision to go ahead with a follow a different approach.
Okay.
So that's what I mean by phase 1 and phase 2. It's just internal to TWG. We are using these kind of things, and if we may come across similar situations with other clients also. Like the proof of concept is a general kind of a thing that we use in consulting. And there are other lot of different fields. There story points. So this story point is nothing but it is used to measure the complexity of the work that we are doing. So like in TWG we are not using the story points, but in the normal world the story points is used to represent the complexity of the work. So sometimes the people refers to story point as one day as one story point. If a task needs to be completed, if the task need one day to be completed, then we allocate one story point to the task. And it all depends on the organizations that uses this Jira. So sometimes they say it as story point as 1 hour is equal to one story point. But in TWG, we are not using story point at this moment, but we will be using that going forward. Not very quickly or anything. It's gonna be it's a long-term plan for them to use the story points. And this original estimate is nothing but again the time required to complete the task. This is more similar to the story points. These are kind of related. And start date is nothing but when you're starting the task. And squad is something that we're using within ERPFI. We have 3 squads. One is buy move squad, which is usually takes care of the inventory side of things, and finance squad, which is the finance, and sell squad, which is a combination of both inventory and finance. All right. So this is how you actually create an issue. So I'm not creating the issue. And then Confluence. So Jira is used to manage the tasks and track the progress of the task. And Confluence is used to, and if I talk about Jira alone in this one, there is a lot of things in this, like you can see a lot of reports, like how you're progressing on the sprint. Like there's a burn down chart that you can see here. So burn down chart is nothing but at the start of the sprint, we always say, okay, I'm taking sprint 16. The start of the sprint, we committed to deliver 595 issues, right? And gradually when we progress through the sprint, some tasks got completed. So that's when this red line is moving kind of below this point. So task getting completed means the burn down is happening in the sprint. So at start of the sprint, we say 600 issues need to be completed. So ideally, we should have completed the task following this line. Like at each when we are progressing through each week, it should be completing some task, and this line should actually align with this line. But in real projection things, this will never happen. But this is a very bad sprint that we have run through. Like sprint 16, we committed to deliver 595 issues at the start of the sprint, and at the end of the sprint, we could complete only very few. So you can see this is not more than 100 or 150 issues we have completed. Reason being, there, if you can see the spikes here, like at the start of sprint, 595 committed. Then again, during the sprint, there was a scope change. When I say scope change, that means the scope of the sprint has been increased. Like more work has been allocated to sprint. So that you can see here, like the scope has increased and it has reached around 680. Then it again came down and reached this stage. And there are other charts like burn-up charts. It's similar to burn down, where we can see the first one was burn down and this one was kind of burn up. So how we are, so this represents the issues getting added to the sprint. This represents the issues completion, right? And going on to next one, sprint report. This is more around how we are progressing on the sprint. We started with burn down chart will show at the start, and then there is the status report that comes in where you can see all the completed issues in the sprint, then the issues which are not completed, and this kind of details you can see. And whenever there is a new task that's getting added to the sprint, this issue count will gets added.
What does this gray line signify in the graph?
The gray line is the ideal way of burn down. If it's a 4 weeks, 2 week sprint, if you're committed to deliver 12 or 13 items in the sprint, then ideally at the end of the sprint, all 13 items should be completed and your issue count at that point, incomplete issues count at that point will become 0. So gray line is the ideal way that Jira suggests, like, this is how you should burn down. Your team should burn down the tasks, but this never happens. Usually the graph will be, our graph, this red line indicates how the team is progressing. And this is the ideal way that Jira is meant the team to be progressed. Got it?
Yes.
And there is this velocity chart. Velocity chart is nothing but it talks about the velocity of the team. So let's try to. So this graph represents the velocity chart. So it's if you can take that phase 2 sprint 14, ERP phase 2 sprint 14, we committed to deliver some around 390 items, but we delivered only 144 complete items. Again, for sprint 15, we committed for 479, but we delivered only 169. So sprint 16, again 606, we delivered only 168. So by looking at this chart, the management can decide, okay, how many tasks and things that the team can complete ideally. Like, if you look at this one, for 14 to 16, we have not gone above 168 or 169. So our velocity is always less than 170. But our commitment was always more. So usually this velocity chart is meant to help decide whether decide how many stories or how many tasks the teams can complete in a sprint. So based on this velocity chart, usually the teams, if they take an average of 3 or 4 sprints velocity, and they then after 3 or 4 sprints, they will only commit to deliver that many story points. That means if 144, 116, and 168 was the velocity of our team in the last 3 sprints, the average will deliver only maybe 155. So from next sprint onwards, this tool is suggesting us to take only 155 story points, which the team can realistically do. Got it?
Yeah, got it.
And there is a lot of dashboards that you can create in Jira. So if you go to this ERPFA dashboard, so these are all we are using within our program to track our progress and how we are performing the sprint, because we have a very big team of 100+ people, different companies involved. So we use these kind of dashboards and things to track our progress. So from this view itself, I can always say, okay, overall sprint progress. For sprint 17, 23% of time is completed, only 8% of work is completed, and there is a 10% of scope change. And there is 21 highest priority items which are not completed within the sprint. And there is also a flagged item. Flagged item means if you see one item as a blocker that is not permitting you to complete something, you will flag those items. Now, for example, if you want to flag any item, you go to the Jira number and you use this, you click on these action items and say add a flag. And this will start appearing in the dashboards view. So the program team can give more attention to flagged items. So these are all other various kind of graphs that says, okay, sprint issues grouped by assignees, how many issues are assigned to different people. With the sprint issues based on priority and issues assigned to myself, I can see here. This is a dynamic thing. When you will come to this dashboard, you will only see the things which are assigned to you. Again, the issue status is based on the status, how many issues are in open state and percentage of that. All of these things helps us to decide how we are progressing on the sprint, and then put pressure on the team to complete it. Okay. Then let me go to Confluence. So Confluence and Jira are products from Atlassian itself, and these are tightly integrated. So you can see Confluence pages from Jira itself, and you can also access the Jira issues from Confluence. When I say Jira issues, it's always the task that I mean. Okay. So Confluence is more kind of a wiki kind of a thing, where you put all your documentation in. So you guys are familiar with Wikipedia, right? So Wikipedia, you write content. So Confluence is similar to that. So there are concept of spaces. Spaces are to organize the. So TWG uses Confluence, and within TWG, different teams are there, different departments are there, different projects are running. So the documentation related to different teams and different departments or different projects, they're all managed in different spaces. The space is kind of, the concept of spaces is more like, to bring everything together in one umbrella a set of documentation or set of things in one umbrella, we use as spaces. So if for ERPFI, we have one space. And similarly for other tribes, you can see the data tribe uses one space. And there is HCM project uses one space. So for ERPFI, we are more interested in ERPFI, and this is where all the documentation related to ERPFI is stored. So if you see the left panel, you can see all these parent pages, right? I'll explain about the home page. So home page basically explains about what is this space, and program objective, program timelines, what is the solution, all those things. And there is an uh, um, index area where you see all the parent pages under this space. So if you expand on these ones using these little arrows, you can see the child items of these pages. And there are a lot of documentation you can find here. Like, if you come to the ERPFI interfaces, then each interface has a page, and then each page has got sub pages where it specifically says about, what is the discovery design, how it has been designed, how the build is, what is the estimate that is used for this. All these things are defined in this Confluence page. And you can also do a little bit of search using this one. If I wanted to search like STEM, it'll show me all the pages with STEM. And then you can add little more filtration conditions like, last modified, or what is the type of this one? Is it a space, or is it a blog post? And if there are any pages that is used. And this checkbox enables me to type in only the search using the titles only. So search titles only, that means the STEM search that we entered will search for the pages with that title STEM. So you can create the pages here. So when you're creating these pages, so right now I clicked on create page, and then I can add a page title, something. And then, as you can see, if you see the little links here, so my page is getting created under ERPFI homepage. So under ERPFI's page, as a page under the ERPFI home, I'm creating a page. This little links means that it's kind of a folder kind of a structure that we can see here, right? And this the editor, the Confluence editor is more similar to kind of Word editor and all, where you can see you can select different kind of text. You can bold it using B, made it italic. Want to put some strike through, underline, those can be done using these 3 dots. Then the text formatting, text colors, the bullets, numbers, all these things can be used using this little widgets at the top. You want to add any links, I wanted to say like jira link. Select this, add a link, paste the link that you want to put there. Say Google link. So anything that you can do within a Word can be done pretty much in this one. And you can choose different layouts, like, whether you want to display this as 2 layouts, 2 columns, like I'm showing here, or you want to show this like this, or like this or like this. You can choose different layouts, and you can even show some Jira issues in this page. You click on this plus sign and say Jira. So this will basically allow you to search for Jira issues. So if I say key equal to ERPF 9576, I'll start appearing. I'll start getting that results. So it means then this Confluence application can talk to Jira and pull the information from Jira and show it here. I'm kind of showing that here. All right, and then there are concept of publish and close. If you publish the page, this page will be visible to everyone who uses this space, right? And if you just close it, this changes or this page will be visible only to yourself. Unless you publish the things, these pages and things won't be visible to anyone else. So when you're working on something that is not completed, this not completely uh, done, you will always keep it as not published and just close the page and work on things. Once you're ready with everything that is needed to be there, then you publish the page and give the link to others. There is also concept of scheduling the publish and previewing it. So if you're putting more content and layouts and things, you can always preview it before you publish it. The preview is nothing but just shows you how the page will look to end users, or page will look to people who reads this. I'm not publishing this, I'm just closing this. So if I close this, when I come to home page, I can always see something named pick up where you left off. So this says, okay, you have something that you have created, but you have not published it. See this little draft uh, kind of a status that shows near the page title. Right?
Hello, Uji.
Yeah.
Can I say something?
Yeah, please.
Can we conduct another session on Confluence, if, as in when you are available?
Yeah, definitely we can do.
Actually, it's taking so much to grasp. So,
Yeah.
since
I understand. I totally understand. It's all good. We can have another
yeah,
session, maybe
so
probably next week.
can we have another session till now? Till then, we can practice over this.
How do you practice?
Like we will be provided access by tomorrow. Like my ID will be get activated till tomorrow, so we
Uh,
can have a look over the
yeah, you can have a look
session.
at the task and things, but you may not be able to practice by creating task and allocating tasks to different people because it's a live
Okay,
system. So you
okay,
can always go through the things and say, understand, I'll give you some more documentation around how things are working. And also I have created one documentation within Confluence that says how to use Jira FAQs and things. So this will the things that I have shown you today is about the capabilities of the product. But if you really wanted to use it, then you can go through the slides here. The Jira FAQs have created how to flag issues, how to create defects, how to create filters. There
okay,
are concepts of creating filters and then running searches within Jira, like based on some
okay,
criteria, like to bring all the issues of sprint 15 or sprint 16, all the issues assigned to my team member Tarun or Vaishali. You can run those kind of filters. So I'll give you this link, and then you can probably practice around that once you get access.
okay.
All right. I know it is too much to grasp in a single session. So
It's, yeah, so sorry to interrupt you.
that's all good. I should have known about that, before It's good that you pointed that out. So good.
I'm sorry if you felt like
Yes.
Okay, then.
Okay, then I'll
Like,
let you guys go have some lunch. And don't
yeah,
forget to ask Chandan about dinner.
drinks.
No, ask about dinner first, and then then we can come to drinks part. Okay. All right, guys.
I think
You.
India doesn't follow this culture like having beers and the like
It
Um,
follows.
no,
it
it's not
follows.
like that. I'm from India.
Okay. So you work according to New Zealand time.
Yeah, yeah. Usually, I used to work in New Zealand, and then I came down to
You stuck
India.
there.
Yeah, I was stuck there for 2 years, then I came here. Then I'll go back soon. So I have a lot of conversations and meetings that is
I know the details.
the New Zealand time zone. So you know the details. How do you know the details?
Nothing, nothing. You got married and stuck in India, so
Yeah.
Okay.
No, no, no. It's not like that. You know, that's not correct. I
Yeah.
was married.
The
I was
start due to
married.
COVID, right?
I was married. I was, uh, and then 2020, I traveled to New Zealand uh, for some work, and I was expected to bring my family also with me after I reached there. Like, I thought like, within 2 or 3 months I can bring family there. But the COVID hit, New Zealand has closed the borders. I was stuck there.
yeah,
And I was stuck there for 2 years. I was trying to bring my family there for the last 2 years, but New Zealand immigration wasn't really kind enough to give us the visa. So now I
now
said,
now it
now
what
what I've
was
done is, I applied for the residency. So in the residency application, I included my family also. Then I travel back. Once I get the residency, then I can travel back to New Zealand again with my family. I can still go, but my family cannot go. I'm waiting for that residency to be approved. Till then, I'll
so
work.
have you got
All the best.
have you got your PR?